This is a quick walkthrough of API deployment collection that I built. Basically, I've been building APIs for quite a while. They're still handcrafted and fairly cumbersome to create a new one and to evolve. So I've always wanted to be able to just automate certain steps or cycles of the API deployment. And no better way to do this than with Postman. So I have an API here in Postman that I call products. It's just got a handful of basic CRUD endpoints for adding, getting products, getting an individual product, updating and deleting a product. Basic amount of schema for each one down here at the bottom. And then I've got some testing collection, a collection for publishing my docs, and a collection for testing the performance, kind of setting the benchmark. And I've got my API mocked using my documentation collection here. And so I can actually make calls to the API. But now I need to actually deploy it. So I came up with a pretty basic API deployment collection for DynamoDB here. Oops, that's remove. Here, DynamoDB deploy. So it's I keep it in my operations workspace, and then I share it out. So I'm going to share this one with my products API as soon as it loads here, or products workspace for my products API. Things are a little slow. All right. I'm actually going to send over this remove as well, because I know I'm in test mode. I'm going to want to remove this API pretty quick after I add it. I'm going to share it to the products workspace as well. All right. And then I'm going to switch back to my products API workspace. And I've got all my core collections for my products, but then I've got this collection here that's going to help me deploy this API right here. So this API that I just walked you through will be loaded here as part of this collection and then published to an API to DynamoDB. So I'm using a suite of AWS services, the API gateway directly to DynamoDB for a very simple NoSQL style API straight from the gateway, all stored here. So it's not very robust. I mean, it does scale, but feature-wise, it won't be as robust as some of the other APIs you can do. But it's a simple hello world type of API. So we're going to make sure we load up the right environment. We're going to deploy products using DynamoDB in this environment. We'll kind of maintain the state of our deployment. So the first step is to pull that open API into this environment. So we want this up here in the environment so that we can use it across each step without having to make an API call to get it. So it's in the environment for us to use at this moment. So now I'm going to actually create a table, and this creates a table based upon my schema in that open API. Got to update the name, and I believe our version is V1. Workspace name is actually API products. I don't think this matters anymore, but I'm going to make sure it's correct. So what I did is I just pulled that open API and I added some vendor extensions that are needed for AWS API Gateway. So it's things that map to the DynamoDB, and that's loaded in the environment as well. So I've got the original open API, I've got the modified one that we just prepared for publishing it, and then I'm going to go ahead and actually publish it to the AWS API Gateway. So I just published it. But it's in the gateway, it hasn't been deployed to a stage. So with AWS API Gateway, you can define, development, staging, production stages. So I'm just deploying this one to a development stage with the AWS API Gateway. So just deployed it. But we don't want any API to be publicly available. So when we published that, we made sure and said, it's got to have an API key, and before we can add an API key, we've got to have a usage plan. So we're going to add a usage plan to the gateway for this the products API. Then we're going to generate a key with the API gateway, and all this gets stored in the environment. And then we're going to add that key to the plan that we just created. So now our API has an API key. It has a usage plan that limits what can be accessed, and we should have an API that works. I'm going to close up each of my tabs here, and then the next one I have after creating the key is just making a call to it. So let's go ahead and make a call and see if we can get it. So yeah, we got an empty array. Let's add something here in the body. I've got a basic product with an ID, a name, and a description. See if it'll add. I don't like that response. We'll have to change that. But we should have a product in there now. So we should be able to make API calls, update. Oops. Yeah. Anyways, we'll send that. So basically we got a very simple CRUD API that we can add to, update, remove to, and then we can start adding in any other API paths that we need. Just taking this as the source of truth in the contract, running it through and publishing it to the gateway and DynamoDB, and we got ourselves a simple API that we can eventually deploy into production and put to use. Anyways, hopefully that shows some different ways of thinking about how Postman collections can be used. I will be showcasing this collection tomorrow as part of a Postman webinar series, show how it's part of a larger API lifecycle if you want to tune into that. And then thanks.